Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I'm your superior web headmaster, Jarod Bachman-Stubbs, and joining me this week, you guys saw him quite some time ago on Knights of the Nerd Republic, but we got Darth Choco on.
Hello. How's it going?
We also got, I never know to address you by your real name or by Choco.
Choco. Darth Choco works. I'm Brandon. Brandon is cool as well, but Darth Choco has some more cachet.
I hear you. As somebody who made the strategic decision to drop Bachman-Stubbs for the Dark Jedi, I understand. One of those is a mouthful. We also got Ben from Comics Comedy. And
hey, what's up? Actually, Comics Comedy is just the email. It's actually Comic Comedians. Thanks for having me, though.
I get everybody's show names wrong the first time.
Oh, dude, it's okay. The email is Comic Comedy because somebody already took Comic Comedians. And
that's right.
I didn't want it to be Comic_Comedians because that's lame. But yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about this awesome movie with you guys.
Absolutely. And we also have another, it's fun because I get to hang out with some of my favorite people on Nerd TikTok. And
I just had a question. Am I echoey or do I sound okay?
Slightly echoey, but it's okay. I can understand the words you're saying.
Good now?
Better, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like I said, slightly echoey, but we can hear your beautiful voice, and that's what matters. But joining me is the only person who I also don't want to say the only person because he's probably the best one, but the only person who I think has the heart in the fight with the Fandom Menace that I have. We have Mr. Kevin Parker on as well.
Thank you for having me on.
Very excited to have all you guys on.
I would just like to say I do have the heart. But I feel like J.K. and I are two sides of the same coin, where he's more goes for the jugular, and then I'm just trying to honey. Child.
You're nicer than us, Brandon. You're nicer than we are too.
Nice way of saying you're nicer. True.
Yeah,
but not on Twitter though.
No mercy on Twitter.
Sometimes on Twitter.
No, it's nothing like Xbox Live, man. No mercy.
There's no mercy in this lobby, all right?
No, in the immortal words of the great American poet, Kanye West, it's on site. But we're not here to talk about Donda or Kanye. We are here to talk about Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings. It's finally out. We've all seen it. And spoiler alert, I think we all really liked it.
I did, for sure. Yeah.
Top marks.
Definitely loved it.
Absolutely. Just so people who are kind of want to poke in, who haven't seen it yet, kind of do a quickie roundtable of non-spoiler. So, Ben, if you'd like to go first and give kind of an off-the-top, no spoiler general thoughts before we dive into
everything I know. Got it. Through this whole movie, I was very excited to see the movie when it was first announced at the investors meeting. I was a little excited. I knew a little bit about Shang-Chi, but I wasn't into the character like I am most comic books, which is weird because I love comic books. But when I first saw the trailer and I saw that scissor kick that Simu Liu perfectly did, and by the way, best part of the whole movie, but we'll get to that later. when he did that awesome scissor kick, I was invested. I was like, no wonder this is in the investor meeting, because I was invested. But this whole movie was just a fantastic experience from beginning to end.
All right. I dig it. Choco, I'll kick to you.
Yeah, for me, I was just waiting for something different because I love Marvel. Marvel is my first love. Yes, I was on for Star Wars before, but before my love of Star Wars comes Marvel. And as much as I love the movies, they were starting to feel like they were falling into the Marvel formula, which was starting to get old and tired, and this gave me something fresh, right? Something I didn't expect. I didn't know what to expect going into it, and it hit me. It just hit different, and so I really enjoyed this journey and like seeing this other world. The fights were amazing and had this like frenetic action, but there was weight behind the hits while still holding true to like the Chinese style like line work and stuff that like it did handle that beautifully. And I didn't think anyone would ever top the knife fight from Winter Soldier, but they did it.
Yeah, I want to talk about the fight choreography. That's probably going to be the first topic when we're done with a non-spoiler talk, is just talking about the fights themselves.
We want to release it.
Yes, yeah. All right here for a minute. Kevin, non-spoilery thoughts.
This movie is something that my family in particular has been just waiting for a long time for. My wife is Chinese, so our 5 kids are half Chinese. They're all into Kung Fu, so there were so many layers of this movie that we were just so waiting for the MCU to get. And it lived up to it and blew it away. Like everybody in my family who's been able to see it so far, because not all of them are vaccinated because of young kids, but everybody older that's seen it, it blew our expectations away. So yeah, the fight, I'm with Choco on this one. I think the fight choreography, which we won't get any details right now, tops everything else in the MCU. It tops Winter Soldier. It tops Civil War for me. I just thought this is next level. And with the camera angles and everything, like the camera work on top of the choreography and the wire work and the effects, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I can't wait to see this 100 more times.
Right? Yeah, no, I kind of generally, I hear the I don't want to say criticism because it wasn't really a criticism, but the that idea of like the Marvel formula. It's not something that's ever really bothered me or been something that I was like, oh no. Just because like when it comes to comic book movies, I'm very much the kind of person who's like, oh, I get to see this thing I like come to life. And on some level, I'm just going to like it a lot because of that. That like stuff like that is the reason why I'm able to enjoy Batman v Superman, because on some level, like it's the Dark Knight Returns come to life in a way. And you get to see those little nuggets of that thing. So like with any Marvel movie, it's really hard to disappoint me. Like you really got to try. There's only like 2-ish movies in the MCU that I don't particularly care for. However, my big worry going into phase 4 is what the hell do you do next? And that, comic readers, comic fans, we're used to the world ended a month ago. Okay, now we're back in business. What's up? What's next? What's up? What's next?
Yeah.
That's nothing new to a comic book reader. But I was worried for this franchise that they would like there wouldn't be like a clear like, okay, like how do we build to the next thing? Do we try to take our time and build back up, or or does everything have to be like Thanos coming to kill half the universe again? And this movie blew me away. And like Black Widow, long time coming. I liked Black Widow. I liked Black Widow. I gave it a good grade. This felt like the first true, like, oh shit, like we're like y'all are just plowing away. Like it's good. It's just there's just so much killer and so little filler in this movie.
Shout out to Sum
I
41.
love that.
What was that?
I said the shout out to Sum 41.
Yes, yes. Unintentional
I love
quote.
that.
Jarod.
I heard you say it. I was just like, fat lip. I hear you.
Yeah, no, this was incredible. I really, really, really liked it. I think that people talk about like Marvel humor. I think this also might be one of the funniest Marvel movies. Now, part of that is because a character whom I'm not going to mention in the non-spoiler section scratches a very, very specific comedic itch for me.
I know exactly what it is. Yeah. I
And
agree.
I'll talk more about that in the spoiler section. But yeah, no, this is all great. I freaking love this movie. So it's a glowing review in the non-spoiler section. So if you haven't seen it yet, you just wanted to poke your head in and see what was up, go see it. Go add to the tremendous box office. It's happening right now. This movie, you know, people were talking shit. People were saying it was going to flop. Broke Labor Day weekend record. Like, to hell with a pandemic, it broke Labor Day weekend. Those are numbers you can't fight with. That is not a goddamn experiment. It's a success. Anyone who was saying it would flop, anybody who was rooting for it to flop, you know who you are, you scum suckers.
Clown.
Eat that crow and enjoy it.
Yep.
That said,
But then watch The Crow as well. Side topic. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That said, if you haven't seen the movie, doors that way. Go.
But then
Okay.
come back after you see it because we have some good things to talk about.
Oh yeah. You better come back after you see the movie. I'm gonna have some words with you if you don't come back to watch the rest of this review. I pulled down way too many cool people to come on this review for you sons of bitches not to watch it. Anyway, okay. Spoiler section. Let's talk some fights. I think it's interesting, and I kind of want to get the ball rolling with the conversation here. I think it's interesting talking about like even Civil War with fight choreography, and I think the MCU is in this weird position where, as opposed to like other big action franchises, like your Star Wars, like your Middle Earth stuff, like even DC stuff, most of its main characters fight choreography isn't really a thing. Now, because like you have people, because like normally it's like someone like Captain America in a room full of like normal people and he's just ragdolling people. Or it's Iron Man launching people with repulsors, or Thor, or whatever. And you have like a powered person taking on unpowered people, and it's just a shit kicking fest. But then you have those rare instances like Winter Soldier, where it's like, okay, you can't just punch this guy one time and he's going to fall unconscious. That's one of the main things I was most excited about. This was like actual fights, you know, like not that the big climactic battles aren't always fun, but it's always between like two people who can kind of hit each other from the other side of the room anyway. So you don't get that white knuckle, like, you know, we're both trying to just hit each other in the face with the hard part of my hand.
Right.
We get that here. So, Ben, favorite fight in the movie, and we're just going to go around like before.
Well, I'm gonna have to say, man, it was definitely that train, the bus scene from the beginning of the movie, one of the first fight scenes. You know, the reason why I loved it so much was just because, well, for one, I mean, they hyped it up in the trailer, you know, and you know, it had a lot of comedic timing at it, but the fight itself was just beautiful. Like I said, man, that scissor kick where he just kicked the two guys in the face at the same time was probably one of the most beautiful kicks I've ever seen. And I felt it when he like, I remember, like, I went back in my chair and I just went, oh, like that. And my sister looked over. I went with my sister. And she was just like, Ben, quit being so dramatic. I was like, no, I felt that Like, and then, you know, you see Razor Fist coming out, and Razor Fist, it cuts the whole thing in half. And I think my favorite, like, scene was, like, when he was, like, running through the car, and it was, like, outside of the car. It was, like, that scene from outside of the car. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it was, like, panning across the entire bus, and he was just knocking out guys left and right until he got to the main boss. It kind of reminded me of, like, a video game. You know, you got to get through all the mini bosses to get to the final boss. You know, and that, and obviously Razor Fist. But another cool detail that somebody mentioned, I saw in one of those Easter egg breakdowns, was from that fight. You know how they were trying to get the dragon's eye from his necklace? Well,
yeah.
If you watch right after Shang-Chi kicks Razor Fist, you can see that his chest is bare. There is nothing there, but literally right before that. So right when he does the runaround on the bus, when he runs around,
that's when he like cuts the liner, yeah.
Because you could see it before, and then right after, they actually focused that entire scene on the dragon's eye itself, because that was the goal for the villains. They were trying to get that, so they focused on that a lot, and I thought that was very cool for that fight scene.
Yeah, I agree. The attention to detail there is really cool. They're also really good with like using their environment to create interesting arenas for these fights, as it were. And yeah, like the focus on that, the way they use that, again, like the space they're in is really cool. The shot panning from like watching him like just, you know, again, like carve his way through from the outside of the bus. And just really good use of slow-mo too.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Oh yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. Just like that moment where like he's like slicing apart the like joints in the bus. Like that was, it's just such a cool shot. It's remarkable.
And like I said, like you said, use of environment. I thought that was also a very cool thing that he did. Like they made it a big point to point out the girl who was typing up her college paper on the bus. And I think one of the best parts of him using was when he grabbed the laptop and she tried to pull it back from him for him not to use it. And she put it right in front of Razor Fist, cut it in half, and then he gave it back to her. And I was just like, and I went to a theater near the college, so like all the college students were there, and you literally could feel throughout the entire theater of all of us just going, oh, like, because we all like understood. I'm sure you guys in college, you guys know how it is, or you guys typed up a big paper, imagine somebody taking it and ripping it in half and then giving it back to you. Like I could just imagine, I was in a full theater and all of us were college students, so we all just collectively felt that, you know, and I just thought that was like great detail that they did.
I mean, speaking of like little tiny details, listen, this is the do a flip guys cinematic universe, and all these superheroes are living in it. Like it took me like halfway into the fight to be like, that's the do a flip guy from Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the trailer came out, there were Straw Hat pointed that one out pretty quick.
Yeah. And then I remembered that I already knew that, and I was like, "Oh wait, you like dummy! You should have remembered that." But I was glad I forgot in the moment,
right?
To like take all of that in.
But that line,
yeah. But now, I mean, that character now has an origin. You know, he used to do martial arts as a youth.
Yeah.
So
how many of us did that? And we're like, so I could totally break down this fight because I'm an expert because I took martial arts as a youth.
That literally breaks. That was a kick right at us. That was a kick right at us.
Yeah.
We read comic books so we can break.
Suddenly, I felt like I was represented in this film.
You got this, and then like raising.
And he was live streaming, you know, just like I'm doing right now.
Which became a plot device because later that's how they were found, right? Like that's how he became Busboy, which I thought was such a funny name.
It was great.
And it tied it. Even the comedy actually served a purpose, multiple purposes throughout the film, which to me, like the writing is just top notch in this film.
Yeah, I agree. And I really hope that the busboy thing becomes a recurring gag. Like whenever we
cameo.
But like I hope I hope for Shang-Chi, like, you know, either in a sequel or like the next time there's a threat wherein it causes him to be in the same room as another hero or Avenger, that like someone goes, "Oh look, it's Captain America and Busboy." No, it's just Shang-Chi. Yeah, Busboy. No, like literally, my name is Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Busboy.
Who said the kick?
Oh man,
Do
the
a
scissor
scissor
kick was crazy. Like I've watched many
kick, man.
interviews with Simu Liu, and in almost every interview, he talks about how the most important thing he had to do was stretch. Like he had to learn stretching. It was particularly for that kick. And having done martial arts to the extent that I've done it, I know what he's talking about. And just like you were saying, Ben, like as soon as he did that kick, yes, I was sore too, because it's been years since I've had, my instructors pushing me down to the floor to try to get me to that Chinese, side split.
Believe it or
I
not,
remember doing martial arts myself. So.
Believe it or not, I'm actually oddly flexible. And as someone that can, even to this day, which is not in shape, I can still do a cheerleader like split kick and like touch my toes out on the side.
Word.
That's impressive.
It's not easy. It is not easy. And
can you do it like right now? Like I need proof.
He's in an X-wing, Ben. He doesn't have room for it.
There's more space in space. Go.
Hey, put on the helmet. Go on out there. R2 will bring you back.
I would. I had to have
that baby Yoda right there.
I have a little one on board. I can't leave him alone.
Oh yeah, he's with Luke.
All right, you get a pass.
All right.
Yeah. Also, for audio listeners who aren't watching the video version, Darth Choco has that really cool X-wing background. That's what that was about. No, and we're all doing the thing that the guy on the bus did. I also did Taekwondo for a large part of my like through my teenage years, pretty much up until towards the end of high school. And Spencer, other member of the Nerd Academy that I don't think any of you guys have interacted with. No, you wouldn't, because he's not on TikTok. He leaned over to me because I saw it. It was me, Spencer, my girlfriend, and then friends we ran into. And while we were watching it, he leaned over. He went, "Hey, that's you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You did martial arts in your youth." And I was like, "Hey."
Right.
I wasn't a little kid, but
he's out of line, but he's right.
He's out of line, but he's right.
It was bad. It was a good joke. A great one, even.
Yeah, but no, Chuck, I'm the same way. Where it was like big dude, can move better than have any right to, and it's hysterical. I went from doing martial arts to doing theater in high school, and because I was the big guy who could move, there was more than one occasion. It was hey, make the big guy do a cartwheel, make the big guy do a split, and it was just that Chris Farley body humor, where it was that he's doing flips and it's funny because he's fat, type thing.
Hey, Chris Farley could move.
He could
move.
Well, yeah, Chris Farley is God, should have been gone too soon.
Also, you can't change my mind that if Farley was still around, he wouldn't have been in the MCU somehow. You cannot change my mind
I was
about
literally
that.
just thinking about that. I said if Farley was still around, he'd definitely be in the MCU.
Yeah.
He'd probably be in the Hulk movie because he played the Hulk at Superman's funeral. If they put the guy who played Ant-Man in the Ant-Man movie, most likely they do it for him.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, this just popped into my mind, and we'll get
Wolverine?
back on target eventually. No, Taserface. Taserface.
It's gonna be Danny DeVito.
Speaking of Taserface, I'm just sad that we didn't get a moment with Taserface and Razor Fist. That would have been a cool duo.
You don't
want to be a really kick-ass name? Razor Fist. That was the car.
I do want to see that. Him just nodding yeah.
This guy gets it, dude.
Yep.
No, I could just imagine him saying that to Rocket, and then Rocket just being like, "I'm gonna need that arm."
I'm so sorry. Exactly.
Taserface and Razor Fist, just they introduce each other, just nod their heads and go, "Yeah." Get into Taserface is like Grand Theft Auto looking car and just start playing Limp fucking Biscuit immediately.
The difference,
one more caveat.
Fist actually has a razor for a fist. That's
right. He's more authentic. Yeah.
One caveat though, I need them introduced by White Goodman from Dodgeball. Be like,
nobody makes me need my own blood.
They got blades and lasers and the tasers.
Oh Jesus!
So It's a
Choco,
metaphor, but I
was-
really did that.
It's a metaphor, but I really did that. Choco, what was your favorite fight in the movie?
Well, okay. Actually, before I get to the fight, I do have to say, like, there was a couple times where I love the movie Rush Hour 2, and there you know at one
Rush
point,
Hour 2 is the best Rush Hour, first of all.
for sure. But you know you're watching it, and you look over at someone and you're like, Chinese bamboo is very strong. you know that part, and you had that thought.
I wasn't about to like really disrupt the movie and look at my girlfriend and be like, "You've seen Rush Hour 2, right?" Like to like preface the joke. But I'm Choco. You have no idea how vindicated after the fact I am right now. Thank you.
No.
I had to wait.
Right before, there was a video that Straw Hat made, and he deliberately said Rush Hour 2, not Rush Hour 1 or 3. He was like, here's the movies you need to watch before watching Shang-Chi. And he came out with Iron Man 1 and all of those, obviously. And then he came out with Rush Hour 2, which I thought was a weird. I was like, oh, well, there's Jackie Chan. And then I saw the movie. I was like, I knew what he was doing.
Yeah. As soon as my friend Element 7 said he saw it, and I was like, Chinese bamboo, very strong. And then starts,
Apparently it's a real thing that they do.
The words coming out of my mouth.
No, he and I.
I've seen memes. I'm sorry. I'm interrupted with it. Kevin, I saw a meme today where somebody like photoshopped it to be like, I can't remember what scene from Rush Hour, but it was Sam in his cap suit and Shang-Chi, and it was like an argument between Carter and Lee, and I was like, oh shit, this shouldn't be funny. But like they have the perfect energy for it to work.
This gives me a good idea to sort of follow up with some of my drama for today, though, using that movie. So
we would love to see
nobody
that,
understands the words coming out of my mouth.
Drama and Kevin, I do not believe it.
I know, I'm so drama free.
I cannot believe this blasphemy.
No, but the fight between that first knife fight just gave me all of the feels, right? Where between Shang-Chi and the Death Dealer, right? The person in a mask that trained him as a kid, if that's the actual same person. But there's that scene where they're fighting, and like I even saw video footage of the actor practicing for that stunt, and it was so complex but really cool. And like it just like some of the physical things that they did just blew my mind, of like chasing him through that roof where he's like sliding and then falling through, or they even did something similar on the bus where Shang-Chi slid through the front of the bus, grabbed on it and swung over to open the door. God, so much of that physical stuff was just beautifully done. And then I also have to shout out the meet cute between Wenwu and Shang-Chi's mom, like their first fight of them, like it was just like, it was beautifully shot, and then like the wind would be blowing in their hair, and as they're smiling at each other, but they're also like trying to beat each other's asses at the same time. No, there's just so much to love in this, and again, top notch for action.
I agree. Also, Warlord long hair cape wearing Wenwu.
Yeah.
That's all. Big fan. Kevin, favorite fight?
It's definitely Wong versus Abomination. No, but that was hilarious with the portal and everything. I just laughed so hard. My daughter was embarrassed how hard I laughed at that whole punch. Now you know how it feels.
Beat him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Which kind of shows you that these fights are fixed, right? Like this is a show. This is like pro wrestling. Don't tell anybody, but it's like a lot of professional kind of showy kind of things. But it was fun. The fight that got me like the most stressed out that I've been in months was the side of the building, the very strong bamboo. like, and Katie dangling off the end, and I was just like, I knew she was going to be safe because they're not going to kill off Aquafina in the first, act of a movie or even in the movie. But that stressed me out because it was so realistic, and I was biting my, tongue really not to scream even louder. But that was good. It was a good fight. The end fight, also to me, like, I don't know, I can't really pick one best one, but the end fight, I thought, oh, it might be wrapping up, and then it just went to like this whole like other level of magic fight, and that's also where I was like, oh, they're not done. Oh, it's way bigger now, and it just kept growing, and that's every bit of it. That it's all good. But the interactions between, like, the close, you're talking about the using the environment and everything, very much like Jackie Chan. Like, that's a style that he's owned for decades, and they put a lot of that into Shang-Chi's, close quarters fighting, and then of course he learned his mom's style of more Tai Chi type movements, or Qigong. I'm not sure which. Within those styles, where it was much more fluid and the whole airbending thing, but just those close quarters fights. My sons do international competitions in Kung Fu, and they always do a 2-man set. And so you're talking about fight choreography. Like, they literally have to memorize an entire, it's a couple of minutes, but those couple of minutes have so many moves in it. Yeah. And they've won first and second place on a lot of these tournaments. So it's just amazing. I've shown a few clips on my TikTok about that, but I love watching that because I've actually seen the work that it goes into it. Now, not me personally. I'm the, armchair guy. He's like, yeah, son, you did good.
The man in the chair.
That's it. I'm the man in the
chair. Just also, I do just have to shout out that the training scene where, his aunt, Nan, teaches him, and then he Shang-Chi starts to get cocky, and then she does her whole bit at the end, but just how they animated, all the leaves and stuff flowing, and like, was just so beautiful and like spellbinding. And then she made him look like a little punk ass bitch. It was great.
As I said in the theater, everybody's gangsta until your auntie uses the Force.
I'm going to use that, man. Everybody's gangster until your auntie uses the Force. No, what I was going to say was, like, the way that these things were shot. They actually had the same guy who did the Matrix do like the shots for this. So, like, when you see the leaves coming by and them coming out, it kind of looks like the Matrix.
Yeah, it's bullet time. Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely saw the bullet stuff.
Well, and like coming back to like all the Jackie Chan comparisons, if I'm not mistaken, and he's the one that the movie's dedicated to.
No, Brad Allen.
Brad Allen.
And he worked with Jackie Chan a lot.
He works with Jackie Chan a lot, yeah.
That's what I thought. And that's just cool as hell.
I thought it was really dope.
I gotta say, Kevin, I'm gonna pretty much say everything you said. I love, and maybe part of this is because like my media diet as a child and just some things that just didn't go away. And part of that is the way that I played video games as a small child. I like fights when people fall off of tall things. It's my favorite way to see. It's my favorite way to off somebody in a video game. It's my favorite way to see somebody die in a movie when they fall down a thing. And I was a happy camper watching the side of the building Chinese bamboo very strong fight. It was just so visually pleasing. Just like everybody's just like, off the side. It was an entertaining, like even the way that they started doing it in more like clever ways, where like he uses the guy as a plank to walk across.
I thought it was hilarious.
And like, and again, and I'm not saying this is something the movie has going against it, but for a movie that, for a movie that has a lot of fighting in it, there's not a whole lot of like memorable kills, and it's a Marvel movie. This is like also for kids, like not like there's going to be like memorable kills. But the guy who like dies 3 times falling, is it's the only way you can describe it. because he falls and then
He
he
plays-
hits something.
He plays Plinko from
Oh wow.
That
Human
was-
Plinko.
That was good. That was good.
Because he's liquid, like all of them. He's liquid when he hits the ground, But again, like Kevin was saying, I also really like the final battle between Wenwu and Shang-Chi. It was really cool. I like when stuff just kind of happens when you have magic or some form of like technology so advanced that it might as well be magic. Like I think it's like a Tony Stark quote: "Magic is just science we don't understand yet." Or it is okay. I thought it was a Tony quote.
Well,
Like,
I think it was either Bruce or Tony, but it was definitely one of them.
yeah, that's what I
Jane
thought.
Foster.
Thank you.
No, Jane Foster.
Yeah, it's Jane Foster.
Yeah, it was
Jane
Jane
Foster.
Foster.
But all smart, sciencey people know that. So Arthur C. Clarke.
For some reason, I thought Tony said it in the I'm probably wrong on both accounts. It's fine.
No,
You're
it's
definitely
Jane.
right. Jane said it in the movie, and I should have clocked that first. But
For science fiction, which could be predecessor for scientific fact, but yeah.
But with the rings and them changing their allegiance, like I just like when cool stuff like that happens. Like I don't need there to be 10 minutes of exposition about how or why the rings could do that.
Yeah.
I just like that the moment they come in contact with Shang-Chi, they're like, oh, hey, and now we're going to change color.
Yeah.
I just like it. It just makes me happy. And that was such a cool part too. I also like that it didn't kind of devolve into them just kind of like shooting the rings at each other with like energy blasts. Like the way it kind of turned into this, like almost like they were fighting with chains. Like it was like a chain sword fight. It turned into for a second, which I thought was really fascinating. But yeah, no, those are definitely my standout fights. But again, all of them are incredible.
All of them are
When you're talking about memorable
beautifully
kills,
shot.
probably my favorite memorable kill though is Death Dealer, when that creature
got Suicide
took
Squad
the
on
soul
the beach.
right out of him.
What happened to him?
That was kind of satisfying for me. That's what you get for beating a kid.
Yeah, I'm curious if I can ask a question though, because we got some comic book geeks here. Thoughts on the changes to the rings in general, because they're wildly different than they are in the comics. I'm
kick to,
but yeah.
I loved the idea that because there's actually a weapon. I don't know what the name of the weapon is, but it's something that Kevin, what is it?
Hungar iron rings.
Yeah, Hungar iron rings. Those are actually things that are used in martial arts, and so I thought that was a cool way that they changed it, because I mean obviously if they had actual rings, I can hear it already. If they did it, I want to see the variant timeline of TikTok where everybody goes, it's just the Infinity Gauntlet. So I would love to see that variant timeline, but so I'm glad that they changed it. I thought that was a very cool thing. And I'm glad that they were all equally powered, because in the comic books, they were all kind of their own, it was literally the Infinity Stones. They are different. They have a different power of each, but these ones are all basically the same no matter what. So if you have one, that you're just as strong as the others,
And they seem to fit your forearm just magically, right? Like they shrink or.
I remember there was a theory going around that it would, before, I think they call him the Great Protector in this movie, right? It's not Ping Pang Boom, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's never said, but I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to call him the Great Protector because he's not green. So there was actually a theory that the rings actually belonged to him, and that instead of them being wrists, they were actually dragon fingers that they went on.
I remember seeing that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That it would have been cool. Like a cool change, but I think I like the way that they're going with it, setting it up for Eternal. So, but we'll get into that later. I mean, you guys want to talk about credit scenes, so.
And I also really enjoyed that, rather than it being mostly based off of this superpower. Because one ring controls fire, one did wind, one teleported,
Water.
one did telekinesis. There's a bunch of different powers, but rather
Imagine
than
explaining
that,
10 of those in one movie. Yeah.
yeah, you could never explain those. Not only
They did
that,
6
but
stones in the course of 20 movies.
They worked based off of your martial arts skills, which tied into Shang-Chi because the characters weren't the most connected. They weren't father and son before, so.
Yeah, when we're talking about the dragon too, I just want to throw out there that the mythical creatures that were part of this are so authentic to Chinese culture. Now, I'm not anybody that's out there. Obviously, I'm not Chinese, but I talk with a lot of Chinese people at my house and other places, and they tell me that. And I've studied a bit of Chinese, lore. And the dragon, like if you've ever been to a Chinese New Year celebration, you've seen the lion dances and probably the dragon dance. And this was right out of that whole mythology that's been, for hundreds, thousands of years. And just to see those creatures come alive in a way that we've seen a few movies that kind of tried to do some of those things. I thought this movie did those fantastically. My sons really think that they were, awesome. And they do, like, they're pros at the lion dance thing. They do weddings and stuff and get paid to do that, with the, do the jump up and, tall lion that's like 12 feet tall. That's pretty cool. Right. With two of them, one on each other's shoulders, but just to see all those creatures, and there were a lot more than just those two. Those are the most prominent ones, and I can't even remember the name of the faceless thing, but that's a thing, right? Like,
yeah.
He's kind of sensitive about it.
That's.
Do we want to talk about?
It's not a real thing, but it's a thing that is in I think a Chinese culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if it's considered a kill, but when the lion dragon thing just smacks that guy across the face and he goes flying and you're like,
oh, he's dead.
Oh yeah,
that's a kill. He's dead. His skull is powder, Choco.
Yeah. I thought Trevor Slattery did a good job of playing dead, along with Moritz.
Trevor did a great job of playing.
That was so funny. It's very different from. I know we're probably getting ahead, but it's very different from what I thought they were going to do with him. I thought they were going to do a, the Grandmaster's cousin Carlo kind of thing with the melt stick and just show you how bad, the Mandarin really was at the beginning of the film. I thought they were going to sacrifice him at the beginning of the film. Yeah. I'm really glad they used him the way they did.
Okay. We can talk. Oh God, we can talk Trevor now. So
handsome lad.
He's such a fun. Like everything about Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery is so funny to me. I wish I had a recording of the noise I made when he showed up because I knew he was in it. I saw a leaked screenshot from a premiere or something. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, I know this now. I'm not surprised. And he was at the goddamn premiere. It's like they were trying real hard to hide it. They just didn't put him in any marketing. But when they round the corner and I'm like, oh, give it to me. I please. And it's just it's just as funny. I'll see if it works. There is this really funny and part of 90% of why I love him so much is this stupid edit that came out when Iron Man 3 was released, and or sometime after that, where it's basically this goofy ass dubstep of Trevor Slattery, I'm an actor, bloody hell.
2013 edit is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so that just scratched this nostalgia bug for me. I was like, oh, Trevor Slattery just makes me happy. Just everything that comes out of his mouth.
I remember when we were walking around, they heard something when they were put in the dungeon. I was just like, we're gonna see. I was like, here he comes, man, here he comes. And I remember people being so upset with the way they did the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. And then they came out with the short film. What was it?
All Hail the King.
All Hail the King. Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember when they came out with that.
It's canon, by the way, in case anybody's wondering.
It is canon.
Yes, it is canon. I'm just kidding. No. But I don't want to pull that. That's a can of worms I'm not going to open today. But I actually do agree with you. But what was I saying? Yeah, I came with Thor: The Dark World, and I remember people were like, "Oh, wait!" And then they announced Legend of the Ten Rings, and the Mandarin was going to be in it. I was like, "Well, then obviously Trevor Slattery is going to be in this movie." And when we first heard him, I was just like, "Here he comes!" I was like, Emily, I like kept poking my sister. I was just like, here he comes, Trevor. And she goes, who's Trevor? And then she goes, oh. My sister got so excited when she saw him because she forgot who he was. And then when she saw him, she was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, how can somebody find a character that everybody just collectively hated and then loved him within 13 minutes of a short film, and now everybody loves him?
Fun fact, they were planning that short film while they made Iron Man 3. It wasn't like a big retcon. So apparently they were always planning to do the real Mandarin someday, but they knew they had to get to some point where they, where Kevin Feige's calling all the shots. It's not, whoever was above him that said, oh, well, that won't make any money, Labor Day weekend and whatever. And so, we got Trevor as the one sort of token weirdo from Iron Man 3. The connections to Iron Man 3, to the Incredible Hulk, which is also canon, and also like the Doctor Strange film. There's so many films that this connects directly to. And the way when they introduced Trevor, even if you didn't know who he was, the way Katie and Shang-Chi ask him all these questions, they're like, that means you're like a jester, right? He's like, yes, a jester, actor, whatever. You totally understood. Like, Katie was a stand-in for the audience for so much of this film.
Absolutely.
Like, asking questions like, what the hell? How does this work or whatever? And then Shang-Chi's telling the story. And some people thought she was a little over the top, like maybe, with the humor or whatever. I thought she added just the perfect balance to this film personally.
I don't know if it's just because I got used to it or not, because I like Awkwafina. In the very beginning, she's a lot.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's like
there's no Shang-Chi, like he's in the background, right? Like he's like, I'm just the guy that goes and parks cars with her. And then she's like the show. And
it does kind of launch as almost like it's her movie, at least at the beginning. I will say this: my very first viewing, we get to that scene, we go down into the dungeon, we find Trevor, and then the fire alarm goes off, and I get evacuated from the movie theater.
Oh, that's when it happened. I was waiting for you to bring it up.
That sucks.
What? Did you get your money back?
We get evacuated. We go out. We stand outside for like 15, 20 minutes. They bring us back inside, and they're like, okay, we're just going to restart your guys' movies. So, sit down. And the movie comes back, and there's no sound.
Oh, man. Was there actually a fire, or did somebody just like pull the alarm? Just out of curiosity.
There was no fire that I saw. But I mean, I was
Some kid saw the movie already. He was just like, this is going to be the part where they're all going to be pissed. And then like flicked it right when you guys knew you guys were.
I hope that guy had the day he deserved.
Right?
But so
Legos
there's no
on your
sound.
feet, you son of a bitch.
There's no sound until they are heading through the maze. So that the whole conversation, I see the little thing come out.
Wow,
and I can't hear what they're saying. And then there's a whole car chase after that with nothing. But I did see the movie again. Yes, I got my money back. A, B, I saw it again with my wife, and so I did get that portion. But yeah, man. I mean, although I will say I am also really surprised that the monkeys could act that well. And
I was wheezing. I couldn't breathe. Like, it's so funny. Like I don't know if my sense of humor is broken, that I was like, this might be the funniest joke in the MCU. Like 20-some movies. They got those monkeys to ride horses. The monkeys to ride horses. I'm like, this is fucking gold.
Like he was straight up thinking that it was legit. Like it was real. It was real to me.
I was howling. That was the funniest shit. That and like whenever Morris comes out, they go, "What the hell is that?" He's like, oh, "You are."
Yeah, that's where I was.
You can see him.
Oh, you guys can see him.
Yeah,
I would die for Morris.
Like, I was weeping.
Same.
I was like, oh my gosh. And you know what? It makes sense that he would make up a mythical creature if he's been in a dungeon for as long as he has. you know. And then the
Yeah.
fact that there's new people here that confirm that it's real was just the best thing. Like, imagine having something sitting in your room and you thinking that it's real, and then somebody confirms it for you 10 years after you've been there.
And when apparently he's no longer high, right? Like that was
Yeah.
his thing before. It wouldn't have been a big deal
Free
to see it
drugs.
in Iron Man 3, but yeah.
3 words, mate.
It's like that
Lovely
scene from
drugs.
Ant-Man, Stanley's cameo. You know, the 70s were fun, but it finally caught up to me. That was Stanley's bit. I think that was one of my favorite Stanley cameos.
I also love that it's kind of like implied that Trevor's just permanently cooked.
Oh, he was never all there, though. You got to admit, like Caged Heat. Come on,
I would watch Caged Heat.
Oh, I would too. It's definitely
Disney Plus. Hear us out.
That looks like so many shows from the 80s. I'm not kidding you. I grew up watching those shows, and it looked exactly like Magnum PI or some of those, but it was like a worse version of that, right? Like the discount version of Magnum PI. It was crazy.
Like the parody movie version of those.
But the fact that they made that whole pilot for the one shot, I just think is also hilarious.
I love Trevor so much.
Are you crying?
I'm just laughing. I'm thinking about the movie, and I'm thinking about Trevor's scenes, and I'm trying not to bust out laughing because I'm just like I have this like Rolodex going, and just like the whole, like I'm even going back to Iron Man 3 jokes with like, you know, it's like, oh, there's a lot of drugs, and like, so they offered to get you clean. No, they offered to give me more. Oh man.
It's not real, any of it.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of Trevor, other like MCU connections I want to talk about. I have questions about what the hell is going on with Abomination and Wong.
Where's Abomination been all this time?
He was in cryo freeze in Alaska.
True.
For a while.
Yeah, according to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Right. We don't know what happened after Hydra, the whole fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
And Wong must have like been like, I know a quick way to get some cat. Maybe he had to fix the hole that the Hulk put in his ceiling, so he's mad at the Hulk. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to get back at the Hulk by getting one of his enemies. And we're going to fight for money. Fight.
And he takes him right back to prison, right? Like,
yeah, I know.
It's clear that he's going to the raft or something with that circular kind of prison that Thor ended up in. Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
He brought him to the raft. I think he was. I think he was in Alaska because I'm with Kevin on this. I'm. The shows are canon. Okay.
Clark Gregg agrees with us.
Really, Clark, the Groove Guardian, of course, has to.
Yep.
But
I
believe they're canon until I think it kind of retcons itself when they time travel, and then it creates a variant timeline. But
right,
we'll get
they
to that.
back at the very end of it. But yeah.
But yeah, I think that they moved him from Alaska into the raft because that would probably be the best place for a person like Abomination to be.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to get some story on that. So, and the fact that. It's actually the same actor, I think. I need to go look.
That's
right?
The person who voiced him was Tim Roth. Whatever.
And the fact that he calls him Emil, right? Like, I think that was interesting. But
no bones about it. That's
we got. I had people when I said, "Look, it's Wong versus Abomination." When the trailer came out, they're like, "That's not Wong or Abomination." People just say all kinds of stuff. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it is now. So I need to go back and find that comment.
The reason I can't speak on the canonicity of it is because I'm so deeply involved in the canonicity of something else that I was just
where could they be more toxic, Choco? Just out of curiosity, like where could the fandom be more toxic?
Like, the line must be drawn here, this far.
no father. Yeah, that's a great Picard line. Love that.
Yeah,
Ben, to answer your sarcastic and facetious question, it's bad when you have a hate group that calls itself the Fandom Menace. Granted,
group that calls himself the Phantom Menace.
Fandom Menace.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! No, I mean,
I wish I could be unaware of them like you. I wish I didn't go to bed thinking about Dictor Van Doomcock. I wish these scum-sucking sons of bitches didn't live rent-free in my brain, but they do.
I wish he didn't co-opt the name of my favorite comic book character of all time.
High five through the internet, Choco. High five through the internet.
I just went out and I found Infamous Iron Man. Look at this. It's beautiful. Infamous Iron Man.
I've been playing with him under the camera. I have. I'll show you my live stream. I'm live right now, but
oh, neat. Cool. That's fun. Thank you.
This friend was great, by the way.
Oh God, I love Doctor Doom. I can't wait till we have Doctor Doom in the MCU. This is not the show we're going to talk about the Phantom Menace, but yeah. So I like that idea. Ben, I want to know why they're letting Abomination out to fight.
They're not.
They might not know because Wong can just open a portal right up in there.
Wong is probably sneaking him out, maybe putting like a copy of him in his cell to make it look like he's there because magic, and then taking him out to fight, winning some money, and then he fixes the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Although if people are on the internet, that's the dark web, right? So, but somebody in some agency is watching this, so somebody knows that it's Abomination.
Oh, it's true.
I think,
and
I can't take credit for this. I think it was New Rockstars and their Easter egg breakdown. I like their idea that Thunderbolt Ross is loaning Abomination out so they can keep him in shape for some type of Dark Avengers or Thunderbolt type.
Fully agree. Kevin Feige has said that Thunderbolt Ross is collecting a team with Dreyfus. So
okay. Is it gonna be Thunderbolts or is it gonna be Dark Avengers or some?
Or the combination?
Like the MCU likes to do, it might be a combination of both.
I couldn't have said it any better. And just like with the New Rockstars thing, like I was getting the same kind of vibe, but Voss put it better than I could have.
Oh, Eric
with
is
the he's
I find out every day
kind of like DC
or more and more like
kind of like DC's like
both blonde, both nerds.
No, just kind of like DC is like, hey, this show is Titans, but it's like part Teen Titans, part Young Justice.
Yeah, don't listen. This is my week off of talking about that shit. Don't bring it up. I got a week off.
If it had a little part Teen Titans Go, I might watch it. No,
and it's in that
Teen Titans Go is actually fun. Okay,
I love
and
that. I don't care what anybody says.
In that show's defense, I made it 3 episodes and then gave up.
I watched 5 of season 1 because so background for any new listeners.
I love it.
I'm glad you do, and I'm very much the type of person to be like, I'm glad you like the thing that I don't. So that said, Ben, I apologize for what I'm about to say.
Don't worry, I've heard all of it.
I know.
Have you noticed I don't talk about it on my? I talk about a lot of DC stuff on my page, but if you notice, Titans is not one of those things because I love it, and not everybody does.
Well, I'm legitimately glad that you're doing. For what it's worth, I've been enjoying season 3 on some level.
Pulled the head out of the bag, man. I was just like, this is good.
If everyone's Jason Todd, no one's Jason Todd.
Exactly.
I don't think Travis and I need to cover Titans anymore, Choco. I think every time we get to Titans talk, I'm just going to play a clip of you saying that. Call it a day. But no, so Travis, for new listeners and anybody listening on Ben's live stream, hello. It's okay. But well, Travis kind of suffered through. This is on our old comic book show back when we were with a different network. Travis was kind of like the guy who dealt with DC TV, and he trudged through the first season of Titans, and we made we dedicated an entire episode of him just bringing us up to speed on Titans. And about every 5 minutes, it was met with, "Wow, that sounds rough." And then we did in every episode, weekly breakdown of Titans of Travis just kind of trying to walk Spencer and I through each episode, and all of us going,
Wow.
So going
Okay,
into
look,
season,
I will tell you, the show it's moving too quickly. That's what their problem is. But whoever wrote the last 2 episodes of the season 2, the last couple episodes, they should be the main writer because that's what the Teen Titans are. But this is a Shang-Chi podcast, so I'll get you.
yeah. No, you're good. Listen, I knew I was going to end up talking about it. I knew in my bones. I was like, I'm not actually getting a week off from Titans.
Hey, you brought a DC nerd here with these Marvel guys here.
What?
That is
DC too.
Hey, we all love DC. Listen,
Marvel.
I'm the worst. Don't you worry, guys. I'm the worst kind of Batman fan. I will say he will beat everybody with a straight face. I know I'm the problem, but
prep time.
But
no. Here's the thing. This is what I'm going to say before we get back to Shang-Chi. Everybody who always relies on prep time, you're a goddamn idiot. We got to change up our argument. Hellbat armor. You bring out the Hellbat armor because you could say prep time, and in that prep time, he will decide I should bust out the Hellbat armor, and then he folds everybody. He kicked the piss out of Darkseid.
There's a character called the Batman Who Laughs, and he literally became a god within a week just because he decided to go off the rails. So you know what? If Batman can't win, he took over he took over over 80 universes in a week. Okay, universes. Okay, but next time.
That storyline didn't make sense. So you can't
Batman Who Laughs had a cameo in The Rise of Skywalker, by the way. But anyway.
I'll talk to you later, Kevin. I want to know where that is.
Different character, but looked like him.
Oh, okay.
Funny. But yeah, no, I think that's really cool with the all the different stuff happening with Abomination potentially. Post-credit scenes, what do we think is happening with the Beacon?
That's the Eternals.
Eternals for sure.
You think so?
Well, it's the next movie. It makes perfect sense. It sets it up thousands of years before, or it could be Galactus because Galactus was here right after. Galactus was in the universe before the Big Bang, and then the Big Bang happened, and he somehow got merged with the Big Bang, and now he's part of the universe. But, so it could be Galactus as well if it's as old as it says it is. So it could be 2 major villains or 2 major things that are coming up. But I'm sticking with the Eternals.
Specifically, not the Eternals, but the Celestials. Okay. But I mean, looking at the effects and stuff of the rings while he's wielding them, it does look like the same cosmic effects that we see the Eternals wielding. Now, they didn't create that, right? So yeah. I feel like it, as well as the creatures that were being held back, are deviants. The Celestials started as Celestials do. They get bored and they start messing around with stuff. So they create the deviants. And I wonder if this was one of the first tools meant to be able to fight with them. And that's one of the reasons that they were able to communicate through the tool. And then, of course, after they created the deviants, they created the Eternals to help fight and police them. And then they modified humans and then let them back out, knowing that it would later turn into an X gene. That's how we're getting X-Men. But that's a whole different topic. I have a tinfoil hat. I can go get it. I got theories. I got schematics. I got stuff.
Choco's going full Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah.
Choco's got a whole plan all the way up to the awards. I can already see it. No,
so Kevin and I both wanted to make the same joke, and I stole it. I'm sorry.
No worries. So nobody thinks McLuhan's they're going to go that weird, right?
Okay, I'm not familiar with McLuhan's.
No, McLuhan's. I don't know if I'm even saying it right, but they were the dragon-like race that in the comics were tied to the 10 rings, like they were the ones that had crash landed on Earth.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I like I said, I'm not big on the Shang-Chi stuff. Like I read
also known as Axon Carr,
and I heard they were making a movie. That's all I know.
Technically, that's not Shang-Chi stuff. That's technically Iron Man stuff.
10 ring stuff.
No, I got an omnibus that said Shang-Chi's the Mandarin. And okay, my bad. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I wasn't big on Iron Man either, though.
Kevin,
a guy in a suit getting drunk just wasn't really my thing.
Valid.
Which is what Iron Man was before 2008. Marvel people that weren't alive before 2008.
And for a couple of movies into the MCU, but yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, to respond to that, as much as I would enjoy seeing them go all the way in on some weird shit, I think that they're going to opt for some world building weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the direction of the Eternals. However, I think it's Kang.
Please elaborate.
I think that we're talking about like it's all from like a weird time and place and all of this stuff. I think like don't laugh at me. I legitimately
no, the wheels are spinning and I'm connecting dots.
The Eternal stuff makes sense. Choco, I really like the direction you're going with like the Celestials. We're like, hey, like here's something that you can like drill a deviant with. Like pop and the shit right there. But the idea that they're like, we have no idea when this is from. Like it seems super old, but also we don't have any record of it. You don't have any record of it because it's not from your timeline, dipshit.
Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah,
that's why you don't have a record of it. It's not from here. It's not from here. This is Kang fucking with you.
Like, what's your vendetta against Bruce Banner?
Like, oh no, none of them, just in general. But
okay, you just call him a dipshit casually.
No, all of them are dipshit. I mean, if anything, that dipshit is directed at Wong and Strange because they were like, oh, we don't have anything. But like, no, that's why it's not from here. It's not from this timeline. Like,
yeah, what happened to Smart Hulk?
What?
Sorry. Go ahead.
What happened to Smart Hulk is they don't want to spend that money to keep him the Hulk during She-Hulk, so they're going to find a bullshit reason for him to not be Hulked out all the time, and I'm sad about it.
Easy, they couldn't get
it might be related to that arm that's got a heel, right?
Yeah, it could be related to him.
They couldn't get a needle in his arm to extract the blood for Jennifer Walters to be secured. Simple as that.
That would be interesting. I would like that he hulked down to give the blood. That's cool.
Marvel, hire me.
You should.
Yeah, man. I remember one guy from Mandalorian. Like they sent me an email because I was making so many videos about Mandalorian. I was guessing. Like I was telling people the ending. They were like, "What's your source?" Like somebody straight out emailed me asking me for my sources. Like no, I was like, "They're theories, but thank you for confirming them." And I guess that Din was gonna have the Darksaber by the end of the first season, 3 months before the show even started.
I would dig it. I respect it.
Even before the season started. You know?
See, that I did the same thing to myself with The Force Awakens. I called that whole movie a week before it came out. And that's right. That's when I started like chasing the high of like fan theory predictions. But because I'm not an idiot, I don't get angry when my fan fiction doesn't come true.
Mephisto.
I was allowed Mephisto person. And I took that L. I took that L and I redeemed myself with Loki.
I've been a Chthon person the whole time, and I still think Chthon's coming. I feel like he's coming.
Chthon's on the way.
Oh yeah, that he's the one that's going to be controlling Wanda in Multiverse of Madness. A lot of people were saying, some other names. Either they're going to combine characters like we're talking about, or it's just going to be straight up Chthon, who wrote the Darkhold. So just saying, or at least the pages that became the Darkhold.
I think we're seeing Chthon in What If.
We could be.
I think that's the first bit of continuity we've seen is that tentacle monster showing up twice. I think it's Chthon. That's me. That's me though. But no, I
get original sin in there. But
I thought the octopus was Hydra, like the Hydra octopus. Like that could have been a retcon for. I know. It was for.
It was growing coming through the portal. So it's magic, right? So
yeah. No, I was just like,
it doesn't confirm nor deny.
An Inhuman that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., correct?
Either way, it would make some kick-ass calamari.
It beat a lot of armies for a long time.
But yeah, it's my shot in the dark, and maybe I'm just trying to like do a victory lap on calling Kang from episode 1 of Loki. Still gonna flex on that one. I'm still gonna. I took a very big L with WandaVision, and I got an even bigger W for Loki with predictions. and I'm going to brag about it until it
Till
gets
the day
old. And
ends.
even
I
then,
understand, man. I get you. I was the same way with Falcon.
So I think it might be a Kang setup. However, I like what you guys are saying more about it being the Eternals. I think I like your idea more. But I also feel like we got to get the ball moving on Kang in the movies.
Yeah.
Is like that, and again, like my knee jerk with the fan theory type stuff, like my impulse is always, okay, logistically, what is like the best way you make this? Like, how can you expedite the process of audiences being in the know of what's coming next? Right. And like that's why I was like, oh, like I think Kang is involved. Do we necessarily see him? No, but someone's gonna say those words. He's gonna say that name, and people are gonna go, okay, write that down.
Right.
Obviously, they shot past what my craziest expectation. I didn't think we were going to see John Majors. But
it's delightful.
But I think that's what my gut's telling me.
Immortus,
yeah, I like the idea that it could be Kang. That does make a lot of sense, and it holds like a lot of like a lot of structure. Like it holds it up. It's held up very well. But the problem is like I don't want like everything so far has been tied to Kang the Conqueror, acting as if he's like the next Thanos, and I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Like in 10 years from now, they're not still going to be fighting Kang. I think the next Avengers
is Dr. Doom for sure.
Yeah, Dr. Doom or Galactus, somewhere in that area. Yeah, but like that, I'm glad that not everything is tied to the multiverse. Like I was so glad. Like when I was you guys have no idea how stoked I was when I heard What If was coming out, and then I was so pissed when I found out that they were tying it all together. I started my collection on What Ifs. My What If pile is about that big, pretty thick. All right, I love What Ifs, and so when I found out that they were tying them together, that kind of pissed me off. So and then when I saw this movie, I was just like, they're not tying it to the multiverse. Thank God, and they're setting up for the next movie, and I appreciated that a lot.
What I really like about Phase 4 so far is it feels like there are two plots that are kind of like running. You have the multiverse is caving in on itself and living in a post-Thanos world.
Yeah.
Right? Now, we've already had stories that kind of do a bit of both. Like we have WandaVision kind of crisscross that right up top. But for the
aliens,
most part...
androids, and wizards,
Yeah. Big three. And then you have, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is very much okay. Thanos came, he kicked our asses, we kicked his ass back, we got our people back. What the hell do we do now?
I appreciate the Ghostbusters reference.
Black Widow, same thing. What the hell comes next? And we're starting to see that like the what the hell comes next plot line has a lot to do with the formation of what looks to be the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers or whatever amalgamation we get of those two concepts.
Yeah.
Well,
Tom
the multiverse
Hanks
is
Norman Osborn. Sorry.
That just came out of nowhere.
I respect it.
I do too, though.
That would be really good.
He just we knocked him off his rhythm, man.
Damn.
I want to see Tom Hanks with waves, dude. Like that was, I really want to. I want to see Tom Hanks in a do-rag. Like I really do, because that's how else do you get waves, man? The Green Goblin wears a do-rag. That is canon. All right.
That's what the mask is.
So unmasking him is a do-rag. It's a wave
Why do
check.
you think it has the dangly part in the back?
It's a wave check. That's what it is.
It's a do-rag, bro.
The mask unintentionally gives him waves, and that should be how.
Seriously, imagine if he wears like a green face makeup and just puts on a purple do-rag.
No, I want Spider-Man to be investigating and be like, why does that ginger guy have waves? Obviously, he's wearing a helmet thing a lot. He's the Green Goblin. Book him.
And then we get to see Harry Osborn coming into school like, what's up, guys? Like he has his own little do-rag.
That's funny as shit.
So when you unmask the Green Goblin, it is a wave check. That is what that is.
I'm sorry. I keep throwing you guys off so much.
You're good.
No,
No,
it's okay.
I'm
It's
glad
okay.
about it too.
I like that it's like these two different things going on, and like Spider-Man seems like it's going to be another like a little bit of both. You know, it's a little bit of his what the hell comes next, mixed with a lot of oh shit, the multiverse is caving in on itself.
Yeah.
And you know, and I see a lot of people like trying to ascribe blame to like who breaks the multiverse. I was
All
a
the
part of
magic
that.
people. All the magic people.
Yeah, I was a part of that because I was like, oh, well, it's got to be Scarlet Witch. Okay, well, maybe it's Loki. Okay, it's Doctor Strange who does it.
Wong's the one that's sitting in the back, just like he's the janitor at prom night. You know, like he's got to clean that up.
I think that we're looking at a situation where, like, you used so much kind of cosmic energy we don't understand with the Infinity Stones, so much. You know, like you get Snap 1 that kills half of humanity, Snap 2 that kills the stones, 5 years past, Snap that brings everyone back, Snap that kills Thanos' army. That's a lot of
Three
like
of those are on
weird,
Earth. Yeah.
That's a lot of gamma radiation going on Earth.
yeah, which
could
that's how you
evolve into
mutate
that.
That's where the mutants are coming from.
That's where the mutants are from.
Which goes in line with what they said in the commercial for the Eternals. Like, oh,
Right.
the energy used from it is what is causing the emergences. Emergences of what? It's the emergences of the deviants, but it's the same technology that was used to augment humans to have the X gene in the future. So if it's the same exact waves, we get mutants. I'm sorry, I can talk about mutants forever.
You're good. Don't worry. You will be tagged in for
love
that.
X-Men or something?
do this all day.
Give me some Nightcrawler and Gambit action. That's all I just
I got some fan fiction.
Shadowcat. The big three.
I don't have any fan fiction, but
I'm here for Magneto and Magneto alone. Not me being a violent revolutionary or anything.
I was thinking it.
After our conversation prior to it, it makes me laugh because I see a connection.
Peace was never an option, Choco. But I think that Shang-Chi, especially with that credit scene, like I think it's like helping to straddle this cool connection between, you know, the world is changing here, but also shit's about to get crazy. And do I think Kang is going to be the next Thanos? I think it's a loaded way. I don't say loaded like it's like facetious.
He's the next Loki.
I like that. I think he's a step. I think
he's the first event. You know how Loki was the first big bad for the Avengers. He's going to be like that for
he's
the
a
next
fourth
Avengers.
dimensional Loki.
Thank you.
I think Kang is 2 steps above Loki and a step below Thanos. I think there's going to be.
That's perfectly put.
We're going to get a lot more of Kang as a villain than we got in Loki. You know, before we kind of like, you know, because once we hit Dark World, like, you know, like we get 2 movies of Loki of him being the bad guy, and then we hit Dark World and he's an anti-hero, and we're trying to like expedite the redemption so that Thanos can kill him and we'll cry, right?
Yeah.
And I did. Beside the point. With Kang and just the nature of how powerful and like powerful to that degree where like it's hard to wrap your brain around all the things he can do. Like he's one of those comic book characters where there comes a point where he just plateaus above God tier, where he can just do whatever the shit he wants to. Right. And I think as a threat and as a villain, that's something that will like pave the way for someone like Doom to kind of come in after that, like after you've created a situation that necessitates the formation of the Young Avengers, which that's probably the direction they're going to go, and the multiverse is coming apart at the seams. The last thing they want to deal with is another genius wizard, and Doom coming in on the heels of Kang, like that's gonna be some shit that they just have to unpack. But I think we're going to have Kang a lot longer than we had Loki as a villain. But I don't think it's going to be 10 years of build up to him. I think Kang is just, once Kang shows up, Kang's going to be around for a while. And they're kind of going to do the reverse of Thanos. Because with Thanos, they kind of did that Jaws shit of like, we're just not going to show him to you until we decide he's the star of this movie you've been waiting for.
Sitting around all day.
Yeah. But where I think like once he shows up in Quantumania, he's just going to be boom, 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 boom,
every
boom,
project
boom.
Until he's done.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
talk
he's
about how
years.
he's sitting around all day. Like,
Yeah.
I know that was kind of the running joke, even like how it should have ended, kind of messed with that. And then in Endgame, when younger Nebula's like, "What will you do?" and he goes, "I'll wait." Like, I'll just wait here. Like, yep, he's just sitting down on his butt again.
Typical Thanos.
Okay.
Those lazy guys.
I am unapologetically a just massive Doctor Doom fan. I really
Same.
do think that he needs to be the next big bad, and I can see a situation where we are having this stuff happen. The blip happened, right? There's a lot of chaos that ensued. I could see a world in which Doctor Doom has had, Latveria, and has increased it due to that chaos. Maybe he's even annexed part of Sokovia, during that whole thing, and has started to dig up
There it is.
vibranium
There it is.
in there. And we are going to get Doom War in the next Black Panther series, which is an amazing comic. Everyone should read Doom War. But
Yeah.
I think if we have this, like, we just had this colossal, like, cosmic entity come down. Now we're going to introduce this time traveling entity. And now I think the ultimate is to watch a regular human rise up and grab the pieces left behind by all of them. Doctor Doom is always grabbing other power sources. I can absolutely see something will be left behind in the Eternals movie. We're going to get Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie, and in the end credit scene, he's going to get whatever was left behind in the Eternals movie. He's going to start to harness the power cosmic and start whooping ass. But
Whooping
and it makes sense because Marvel is really setting it up. I mean, their Namor is possibly going to be in Black Panther 2. There's a Fantastic Four movie on the way. And on top of that, there's Kang himself, literally a descendant of Reed Richards. So, and Doctor Doom is notorious with the Fantastic
Allegedly.
Four.
No, I'm kidding. We won't start that controversy.
Also, Noah
There's
Wiley
1,000 years
was trying
between
to
them.
write
I'm sure
a
there's
Dr.
at
Doom
one
movie.
point.
And a different universe, but yeah, they jumped around.
Right. But Franklin, what, not Franklin, he's related to Reed Richards, possibly. Let's put that
Yeah,
out
I think
there.
so.
But I think he is. But they're setting up all these Fantastic Four villains, and because Namor is basically a villain at this point with him and Sue, who so yeah, and
no explanation needed for the audio listeners. That was audible.
Jerry. Anyway, so I think Doctor Doom would be a perfect setup for I'm sorry.
I got Ben messaging me earlier. Are there any rules for the show? I normally keep it clean. Choco's over here making a beaten cheeks joke. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, seriously. I asked him because I did that.
That was unexpected.
I had a word
okay.
slip. Or I think I did it on Darth Choco's where I had a word slip, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Actually, no, Jared, I think you were on that podcast where we were talking about Mr. Avocado Man. But Mr. Avocado Man, the King Show was just like so confused.
Before we get too wild, and I was curious how people compare Wenwu as compared to other Marvel villains from movies.
He's incredible. He's such a good villain. I love seeing.
Wenwu's the Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The orange dish. Yeah, I love how they made fun of
I
that.
thought that was cool. I thought it was crazy because you know how in Marvel content, back in Shang-Chi's early years, that the names of these characters weren't very well
They
in
were
today's
racial
age.
stereotypes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was crazy how they kind of Marvel kind of like folded that on themselves by saying, I've been called many names over the years. Some I like, some I didn't like. Mandarin being an orange dish. I didn't like that one. So I thought that was pretty cool how they like folded that. But this villain, Marvel's doing such a good job of writing their villains now. Like it's not just a opposite version of their main character, which I think is very cool. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, like there are some people that like feel bad for the Mandarin, right? And I was just like, you guys are aware that he has killed many people, right? But at the same time,
Countless.
It's like, yeah, I understand. He lost his wife. That's
For 1,000 years, he's been murdering people.
Yeah, like literally. Like you guys get on to me for saying Weasel was a cool character when he killed 27 children, but don't worry, if he's been killing millions, if not thousands, if not millions of people over the years, that's cool.
Ben, if you think I'm about to talk shit, I have a tattoo of Kylo Ren on my thigh. Okay, ain't nobody here gonna talk shit. Least of all me. I see two walkers over Kevin's shoulder. Okay, like we.
I'm talking about my TikTok following.
No, you're still holding on. Let go. Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, when I respond to the haters, I get the views. So you know what? Whatever. Keep it up. You guys are helping me. So, anywho, this villain he was actually really cool because I will admit, I was like, there are times where I do kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, I'm like, he's still a bad guy. So, I can't feel that bad.
He's
like, but when he actually had that moment with his son, and I thought that was nice.
Yeah, once he finally came to at the end, I just thought it was very good and complex that he wasn't just this, generic bad guy, right? That his motivations are bad. Even Thanos, we kind of saw his motivation, but he was never good at any point until the What If episode, which was hilarious, but also disturbing in so many ways. Oh, it would have worked. It was okay. It was a good plan. But like this guy, like kind of like just went straight for a while. Like he got sober, so to speak, from the power. He just decided, I'm going to have a family. I'll grow old. I'll give up the power, which is hard for anybody, let alone somebody who's been immortal for 1,000 years, right?
Yep.
And then the fact that, he got swayed because of his, like Anakin, because I think, Choco, you mentioned Anakin, like trying to save the one he loved, but that was all an illusion. And then at the end, like there were so many layers to him. That's what I'm trying to say.
And then on top of that, he was tricked. He truly thought his wife was talking to him.
Yeah,
so
but
just like,
he turned all his motivations. He's like, I don't care who I have to mow through, even my own kids, to get to this at this point, right? Yeah. But still, like the complexity of it.
I can make more kids. What's 17 more years?
Oh my gosh, I don't like that audio,
17
man.
more years.
Not the way people use it.
No, it's used
horribly. Think, Sean.
Hey, Choco, who do you think is responsible for the death of the Jedi? Anyway, I'm only making that joke because that was the episode of Knights of the Nerd Republic he was on for, is who is responsible for the fall of the Jedi. And then I think it's funny because it's come up so many times on your TikTok after that. And I have to like try not to be that guy and be like, well, here's a link to hear his answer at the very lengthy version. But no, with Wenwu, one of the things I really like about him, and it's just a trope that I've come to really like in general, is you get it with Peter B. Parker in Spider-Verse, you get it with Luke in The Last Jedi. Or not exactly with the version.
Those are the same movie.
Peter. It is the same movie. The same exact character arc. I like seeing somebody come out of retirement. I love that. Like, I'm putting it on one last time. It's one of the reasons why I like The Dark Knight Returns as much as I do. Granted, there are a lot of people who don't understand that story. Quite frankly, least of all Frank Miller, ironically. But that's a conversation for a different day. I think there's something fun about seeing the villain be the one to come out of retirement, right? And just seeing him go like, well, that didn't pan out. I'm going to get more violent. And that's just the decision that he makes is I wasn't violent enough. And it's like, it's really dark. It's one of those like, to quote the Bad Batch, I hear you. I understand you. I don't agree with you. And I think that tech has found the ultimate way for people to kind of like say, to not actually say the words out loud, Thanos is a sympathetic villain, because he's not. Yeah, like to just go, oh, I see how you arrived at this conclusion. You got the math problem wrong, but thank you for showing your work. I'm glad we understand how we got here, but stop. And I like that. I like how, I like the fact that like Wenwu isn't power hungry. I love that like at the end of the day, the comparison to Anakin I think is valid. At the end of the day, there's a very selfish and self-absorbed love that's propelling him into wanting to try to bring her back. How much of the voices of the soul eaters behind the wall convinced him that he was that his wife was being held hostage in like some weird purgatory, and how much he just implied that because he is a creature of conflict.
Yep.
When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and when you've spent 1,000 years as a warmonger, that shit just doesn't go away. You don't just flip a switch and decide, I'm not going to try to massacre people anymore. Like,
yeah,
when that's your
things
whole
go
shit,
wrong, you go back into your old habits. That's just human nature.
Yeah, exactly. So and again, I've only seen the movie once, so maybe he does say that the voices are telling him that she's being held hostage, and I'm wrong there. But if they don't just say that explicitly, I think it's interesting for Wenwu as a character that he's extrapolating that on his own. And that he's creating a new adversary because, like you said, Kev, like that's just, it's human nature to be like, yes, I'm going to do exactly the thing I was doing before this happened because I'm sad.
Yeah, and that often makes us our own worst enemies, right?
Yep.
So like when he starts going against his children, it's his and his wife's children, right? Like he's betraying the memory of his wife by going after the kids. And the kids are like, Dad, this isn't right. You got to stop and think. And he's just so driven by his own, I'll do whatever it takes to save them. Doctor Strange, Anakin, like we're starting to see this pattern, right? Like it doesn't matter who I destroy in the meantime.
Think about that.
Including myself.
I'll kill any man, woman, or child to get what I.
Yeah.
and
honestly, though, you're right.
Like in his quest, because I get into this argument a lot with Anakin because he made his decisions, and we know that Padme wouldn't have agreed with him. She would have said, "Don't do this for me." Like, geez, who do you think I am? Same thing.
Honestly, a couple trips of therapy probably would have helped Anakin a lot.
And Wenwu as well, but he probably predates therapy, so he doesn't quite believe in it. But I loved.
We pray here.
That's why I really did enjoy him as a character, because, like you said, he wasn't power hungry, because he conquered everything. And he got bored. Like he was like,
okay. I should have phrased it differently. Like his motivation for like his plot, like his villain activity and why he's the antagonist against Shang-Chi is not his power hungriness. It is his grief and how his ego reacts to it. I should have phrased that differently, because obviously he's a power hungry lunatic. He is a conqueror by trade. I should have phrased that differently.
Oh, no. I mean, but you're dead on, and that's one of the reasons why I like him, because some might assume someone in this position is going to crave power, and you're like, that's true. He did. That was 1,000 years ago. He got it. He won. Like the war is over. and Alexander wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. But he, in this, we get to see him look over to where they would lie on the couch after playing Dance Dance Revolution. And there were some of those moments that were just so sweet and like pure and like heartbreaking. But then we got to see how twisted it was, where he's like, your mom died and you just stood there and watched and you didn't do anything. He's
blaming him. Yeah.
Man, I'm 7.
Instead of looking in the mirror and going, oh, hey, I started how many centuries worth of turf wars and actual gang wars? Listen, one of my favorite podcasts on the planet right now is Hood Politics, hosted by the rapper Propaganda. And his whole thing is if you can understand like that life, like the gangbanging, like you're living in the hood type lifestyle, you can understand geopolitics, because politics is just gangbanging in nice suits. And
that's true.
I was like, Prop needs to watch this movie, because everything that happens with Wenwu and the Iron Gang, it's that exactly. You messed with us, and we're gonna retaliate, and we're gonna do it while we catch you with your pants down. There's not going to be some bloodthirsty revenge that we set out for you like the next day. We're going to wait until we know it's going to hurt the most. And that was that shit right there. It was that we're going to wait until the guard is already down. We're going to wait until the 10 rings is essentially gone. And we're not even going to kill Wenwu. Yeah. We're going to whack his wife. It's his fault she's dead.
Yeah, he blames everybody else for his problems.
Exactly. And that was one thing that I like, I like me a good redemption arc. Like I said, Kylo Ren tattoo on my thigh. And I like, it was really nice because part of me was nervous because for some reason I saw a tweet or saw a TikTok where like apparently Kevin Feige was like something Wenwu doesn't die in this movie. And I was like, well, that's disappointing. And I guess he'll get a redemption arc.
Now. If that's the truth, I would feel kind of cheated.
Well, honestly,
I'm glad something like that. That wouldn't be, he wouldn't give away a big spoiler like that. Wenwu coming back would be like a big story arc thing,
And he said didn't die. When that was, but I was like, there's a difference between comes back and doesn't die. And I like the fact that with this villain, like we almost have a moment where Wenwu kind of has a, oh shit, yeah, oh wow,
that moment.
Yeah, I screwed the pooch on that one. Sorry. I have these rings. I'm a peace out. Like I like how they didn't even try to like frame Wenwu's death as a redemption. Like he clearly has a moment where he goes, "Oh, I messed that one up." Like
really does.
Like I immediately he's like regret my decision.
Yeah,
that sound where it's like that little kid doing his apology. I am really sorry. I was wrong and I shouldn't have done it. And like he just like sounds like in monotone. I feel like that's what was going through his brain when he had that.
Like he recognizes he did something wrong. Would he have changed that behavior had he survived? Jury's out. I mean, we'll never know because he's dead. But like, I like how they didn't try to make that a redemption, because like, and I talk about this all the time whenever people talk about like Ben Solo and Darth Vader's and Anakin Skywalker's redemption. That like, I hate redemption via death. I think it's been done to death, and when people talk about like
for that.
Because when people talk about, and I'm using Kylo Ren as an example here to like talk about like what would have been with Wenwu. Like people talk all the time about like, oh well, like how do you redeem Ben Solo? It's like, well, when you're dealing with something like Star Wars, Ben can be redeemed within the Force. Like he can be spiritually forgiven by the sentient life force around him and make his way back to the light. And also have a lot of cleaning up to do in the real world real world as in like the galaxy around him. And that's where you have to atone comes in. Like, just because the space magic knows you're not a bastard anymore doesn't mean we trust you all of a sudden. He has to earn that. And if this
Read
movie
Leia Bloodlines.
Yes. And if this movie tried to have Wen Wu go out in a blaze of glory to like redeem himself for his abusive behavior, you know, like that would have just left such a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, I think. And I like having him have a moment of like recognition, but not redemption.
Yeah. I felt like rather than that audio you stated, it was more like Stan and the I was wrong dance.
Yeah. And I think it's exactly that. I think I think you can like it's recognition, not redemption. And I like that he died a bastard, but he knew he was a bastard, but that doesn't redeem him. You know, like Bo Burnham said it inside. Self-awareness does not absolve you of any of your bad behavior. And just because Wen Wu in those final moments was like, oh man, I'm a bad person. Not only am I a bad person, I'm a dumb one because I fell for this. He got his. It happened that way. I've taken a very long time to answer your question about how I feel about Wen Wu. I apologize. I've been rambling.
No, I just love the conversation and happy to talk to people. I've been wanting to talk with Kev about this movie specifically for a while, so I'm happy I'm able to facilitate it through you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. There's nobody around me that my sister doesn't get this stuff. She just watches the movie, so it's good to talk to people like that are nerds as well. So.
It's nice to run with proper villains.
You know, you don't really get that from my sister. Like, she doesn't. You know, you don't. You
don't unless you're Luke. Never mind.
And you know what? I just heard what I said, and now there's a sound of it. And I apologize to everybody here and Emily. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I'm really red in the face now. Oh,
hey Ben. Hey Ben. Final thoughts on a letter grade for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
My final thoughts. Oh, that's a great transition. I love this movie, guys. If you haven't gone to see it, but you like spoilers for some reason, if you haven't gone to see it, highly recommend it. And it was super fun. I enjoyed all of it. The dragon was awesome, just seeing all of these stories come together, and this is definitely going to be the next jumping off point for the MCU. I feel like this is like the Phase 4 Iron Man, like Shang-Chi is going to be one of the big characters throughout the MCU. Now that Iron Man is gone, that spot needs to be filled. So I think Shang-Chi is a great answer for it.
Dig it. Choco. Oh, Ben, letter grade.
Oh, letter grade, like A through F?
Yep.
I give it a F for fantastic. I'm just kidding. An A that is amazing. It was super fun. 9 out of 10. Super, super good movie. I mean, the song, I think the only thing I could say that I didn't like was the score. It didn't really I liked it. It was a good score, but, there wasn't like memorable song or like beats in the movie,
The score, yes. The soundtrack.
Let's go on soundtrack. Fire.
Listen, the more superhero movies that go with these, like
a whole bonfire with the soundtrack. That's how fire it was, because it was so fiery.
The more superhero movies that lean into doing these like full hip hop soundtracks, the happier I'm going to be as a person in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
unless it's James Gunn, who probably made killer mixtapes in high school for girls, or
the Guardians. Guardians soundtracks are incredible.
Galaxy, it's due, man. Those are some fire soundtracks as well.
I'm proud to know what a mixtape is, Ben, because I definitely did them in my day.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris Killian, and he told me, he was like, I bet he made killer mixtapes for girls in high school. And I was like, I need to find a girl that James Gunn dated in high school, and I need to know this answer now.
I was cool enough that even though it was slightly past my time, I made CDs.
It's way past my time. I actually make Spotify playlists and I send it to a girl. Okay, I'm sorry. 1998 squad, where are you at?
I love that we're born in the same year, and that makes it even funnier.
We're the same age, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
Gosh,
wow.
I was a year from graduating college and getting married.
I didn't know it was that good.
I'm old.
What was that?
I said I was a year from graduating college and getting married in 1998. So, yeah.
87.
That's a lot to take in.
I know.
It all
I was
happened the
5
same
years
week
old
of the
when
Phantom
Incredible
Menace,
Hulk movie
so
came
that was a
out.
big week for me.
You remember going to see Spider-Man 2 when you were 8, Jared?
Yes, I do. I do. Hello, Peter.
Okay, I'm done.
But all right, we got an A for Ben. Choco, final thoughts on a letter grade.
Letter grade is hard for me with in the context of the MCU. I really enjoyed the film. I also have to say that the last act was kind of like Cable's gun, where like it goes up to 11, where you're like, you thought we were here, and then it goes like here, and then here, and then here,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay, my heart can't take it anymore, and then. Yeah, you get one of these and that's over. But I would say, as far as I think the only true way to rank this is as far as origin films go, and this is top 3 origin films in the MCU for sure. I don't even know which ones to order between Iron Man, Black Panther, and this. Overall letter grade, I'm gonna go with a B plus. I really loved the movie, but I'm one of those teachers that's just a stingy grader, I suppose.
That's fair. I respect that. I respect that call. Kevin?
One last thing. There is one part in the movie where I swear to God, I guess I have 2 things, but I swear to God, it was going to break into Make a Man Out of You from Mulan. Like the drums hit the same way right when it was hitting that training montage, and I was like, do it, and then they didn't, and then it's just like,
Yeah, they could have totally done it with the karaoke, like A Whole New World.
I would have died if they did that, because it would have been a shot right at like Disney Plus, because that's where they released Mulan, isn't it? They only released it on Disney Plus.
Yes.
They were like,
it
was our big Asian hero. Like that was like our big Asian hero that we're gonna have for, and then they had to move it on to Disney Plus, and now Shang-Chi is the big Asian hero that was going to be able to be shown because Disney Plus isn't available.
I think they did audiences a favor by doing it that way, though. From what I've heard,
you know what? I can argue. Yeah, you know what? People would say that it was racially motivated or something like that if they did something like that. I get it.
I mean, I've because I actually enjoyed the movie. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't the same as the animated movie. And if that's what you were looking for, then you would be very, very disappointed. But
that I heard as well. Yeah.
That being said, the second
grabbing the arrow was the climax of the movie. I heard. I was just like, that was it.
And then the last thing I had real quick is I also felt certain that they were going to make it so that Shang-Chi killed her grandfather. Like her grandfather was the one that was responsible for.
I thought that's where it was going.
I was like, I felt positive that that's where it was going, and it didn't, which I'm happy with, because it felt too like we just did that with Winter Soldier, but I totally saw that handwriting on the wall. But anyways, overall B plus, a great movie. Definitely see it. Please see it in theaters. It's an experience. So it's an experience movie.
Yep. Keep adding to the record-breaking box office for this not an experiment movie.
Thank you for letting Eternals and Spider-Man stay on the track that it's going to be on, and having Venom be pushed to October 1st.
Oh boy, I can't wait for that Venom review.
Venom got pushed to October 1st. So it got pushed too. So it got pushed forward.
Love Venom so much.
I'm so mad that they're making it PG-13 now, though.
I'm not.
I was so upset when I heard. I was like, "You guys promised us a rated R movie and then changed it."
Also, King in Black was amazing. Go ahead.
No,
So for this film, I went in with pretty high expectations. I try not to do that. Like I went in with no expectations for like Guardians, and I was blown away. And it's one of my favorite movies ever. But this movie, I had high expectations because there were certain things I was hoping to see. It exceeded all of them, and I cannot wait to be watching this over and over and over again with my family. So now it's a little expensive because there's 7 of us to keep going back to the theater. But I will see it at least once more in the theater before it goes to digital. But I just from the fighting, I think was next level. I think they combined some of the best of, as we mentioned, Jackie Chan, even some Bruce Lee stuff with like kung fu and bullet time stuff from The Matrix, and the camera work. There's just so much I think they did right in this film. I don't think all that my friends that are Asian tell me, you can tell that Asians directed this movie, that they wrote it, that they created, that they were involved in the whole process of this movie, right? Like that this wasn't like some just movie that somebody like me set up and pretended it was Asian. Like this is so authentically Asian. I think there's so much about the Asian experience is good here. I give it an A plus. I had to think about that one because I don't give a lot. But this is one of those. There's only a few that I give an A plus to in the MCU. A lot of them I give A's to because I'm not as stingy as Choco. But I love all these films. I can't rank them. People have been begging me to rank them forever. I'm like, I can't. I would do it in tiers, like 3 tiers maybe. I can't do it like
Same.
1 through 25 or whatever we're up to now. So A plus for me on this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on the ranking. Pardon me. I'm allergic to my own studio now, I guess. I'm catching the same thing Spencer has. Is he'll get like at about this point in a show and be like, I'm starting to sneeze for no reason, and I think it's the studio, and I think I'm getting it too.
Well, it's better than last time you invited me on when I had COVID. So,
son of a bitch, yeah, you did, yeah. What the hell was I trying to have you on to review?
Over to the internet.
Hold on. I gotta look through our DMs because I know I was like, hey, there's something out that I want to talk to you about.
I was like, sorry, man, I'm in the hospital trying not to die. So yeah, things happen.
And everything's okay now though, right?
Oh, tip top.
All right.
Yeah, it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then you were like, yeah, sure, sounds good. And then it turned into, hey, sorry for the late reply. I've been in the hospital. Holy fuck, man, are you okay? It was my exact verbiage.
Good times.
Great times. I was so sad. And I was like, oh, man, I'm bugging this man. And he's fighting. He's fighting the Rona.
His life right now.
Random side note, I just saw you have a Superior Spider-Man sticker on your laptop, on your monitor. And I love Superior Spider-Man.
That's what that is? Other side, right there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that is dope. It looks like a Scotty Young, kind of.
This will be difficult.
It's okay. Don't break your laptop now.
Yeah, no. I just don't want to bump the wires. But yeah, no. Superior Spider-Man is actually my favorite Spidey story, for both nostalgia reasons and because I'm a slut for Doc Ock, and it's just really good.
Also a slut for Slott.
Yeah, Dan Slott, one of my favorite Spider-Man writers. Hoping they talk to him with Spider-Verse 2. I want interdimensional vampires, god damn it. But with Shang-Chi, this was everything I wanted it to be. I didn't know what we were going to get. I was hoping for just like a really cool-ass kung fu movie. We got a cool-ass kung fu movie. A lot of what I've said about Phase 4 thus far has come back to This is the most that the MCU has felt like a comic book, because the status quo is completely up in the air. Like, it feels like what happens after a big event comic. Different characters are occupying different mantles. There's already crazy shit that's starting to happen in the aftermath. Everything's going on, but while all the craziness is going on, we're also getting like brand new stories with brand new faces, and that could only exist in the world that is created by the aftermath of the event comic. The event comic was Infinity War and Endgame, and now we're getting this cool ass, it feels like a comic book. And Shang-Chi is like the first time I've had an experience with an MCU movie where I was able to just kind of go, this exists in this universe without the constant reminder that it is. You know, like, again, Star Wars is my first love. So having that kind of like vibe where like you just know something Star Wars, like the High Republic, you know, like it's just cool existing within the High Republic because I just get to play in this universe that I love. And then you get the occasional, you know, oh hey, there's Yoda, oh hey, there's Zero Poof. And it's the same thing here. Where like it just like this is the universe feels so perfectly lived in now that you can drop a Shang-Chi and it's just like, hell yeah, let's go. And like it takes the Avengers 30 seconds to be like, hey, almost like we lost a lot of people and the ones that didn't die are mostly in space. So welcome to the team. Hope you kick hard. And I just like that. I like that vibe a lot. I cannot wait to see more of these characters. You know, like I'm chomping at the bit to see more of Simu as Shang-Chi. I enjoyed Aquafina a lot. Wen Wu, I think, is one of the most nuanced Marvel or MCU villains. You know, and
now I was just going to say, now we have two archers with the name Kate.
Yes, we do.
By the way, there's still a chance we could see more Wen Wu back in time, right? So, like with the Eternals, we're going to have a montage, and we know we're going to see some other, you know, connections in the Marvel universe. I'd be shocked if we didn't see at least a hint of Wen Wu.
And that's the other cool thing with the connections and stuff is that, like, a lot of the mystical martial arts side of the MCU is up for grabs. Like, I don't want to rain on the TV shows or canon parade at all. I think that they're gonna. I think a lot of them are gonna get kind of like cherry picked in different ways.
You better keep my girl Jessica Henwick. She was amazing and delightful. I
just don't think they'll reference Iron Fist himself anymore. But I think, you know, she could come in and Daughters of the Dragon.
We can recast Danny Rand, but let's keep Colleen Wing because she's amazing.
She's already adopted to make her way into the movies. Just saying.
She's my Sabine Wren.
All of that. I don't have an issue with what's his face is Danny Rand. I'm okay if they keep what is it?
Finn Jones.
Finn Jones. It really was that simple. Okay. How do I remember Finn but not Jones? But I like the opportunity to get into the Hand and Kunlun. Like that one line they say, we're like, oh, we have like all of these cities that are just kind of hidden all over the place. Kunlun. Mm-hmm. Kunlun. They're talking about Kunlun.
Yeah.
Or at least I sure hope they're talking about Kunlun.
Oh, it's definitely one of those cities like what we just saw. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really hope that's what they're getting at with that. And I want to see the Hand. I want to see, you know, Iron Fist. Like, I want to see that, like, again, like the cool, weird, mystic martial arts shit.
I also want to see
its way in.
But that's a different IP. So
yeah, I would say that's a different franchise. But I too like seeing
is it
Ninja Turtles.
Because the same accident that created Daredevil created the Turtles. Just saying.
Yep.
And the Foot Clan. But anyway.
The Foot Clan, the Hand, the Foot, the Hand.
Coincidence?
I think not. The Shredder.
Definitely not.
The Shredder. Captain America.
Sorry, I can't not say Shredder from the 80s cartoon. Shredder. from Krang's voice.
My mind actually goes to Turtle, the second movie, where it's like, "Our father gone," and he's knocking over his stuff. I love that movie so much.
God, now I want to watch the Ninja Turtle movies. God damn it!
All on HBO Max.
Are they?
Yep.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Yo,
Thanks,
bring
Vanilla
the
Ice.
team.
I
You rock
appreciate
down
that.
without being seen. Have you ever seen a turtle get down? Slamming and jamming to the news voice. Now, monetization. Stop.
Thank you for that.
No
I love how
problem.
earlier we were talking about like all the cool hip hop soundtracks, and then we remembered why those went away for a little bit. Says the guy who unironically has Will Smith's Wild Wild West in his playlist. But
Big Willie Style was my first CD that I ever bought.
I love you.
Big Willie Style.
That's such a good
Still proud
album.
of it.
Getting Jiggy with It is my go. Okay, we're talking karaoke because Shang-Chi. Getting Jiggy with It is my go-to karaoke song.
Ooh, yeah, Blackstreet for me. No diggity.
Valid. It's just funny because Getting Jiggy with It is so beyond corny, but I love it for it. But
You got Miami, you got Candy, you got just the two of us.
Men in Black.
Men in Black. That was a go-to karaoke song for me and my friend Cameron that I grew up with. Yeah, no, it's a solid album, man.
That's a great one. But yeah, for me, I think I'm gonna go A-. The movie does have does drag a little bit in the transition from the second to the third act, so I think it's the only thing keeping me from an A+. But yeah, Ben, would you like to tell the lovely people where they can find you and all that you do?
Yeah, you guys can find me on TikTok as Shuby Dubert. If you're watching this right now, I'm sure it's right there. It's spelled SCHUBYDOOBERT. You can find me there. I also have a podcast myself. It's called Comic Comedians, and I've had both Choco and Kevin on. Choco and Kevin on. So both great guys. I hope to get Jarod on sometime. That would be great. I need to talk to you about that sometime. But yeah, you guys can find me there.
Always down.
On TikTok, Instagram, Comic Comedy Podcast.
Hell yeah. Yes. Go listen to that. Ben's cool as shit. Ben's cool as shit. Go listen to his stuff and watch his stuff. Choco, where can the lovely people find you and all that you do?
Yeah, I'm Darth Choco. I am Darth Choco on TikTok, on YouTube, which I will be doing a major YouTube push of content in like a week and a half. So if you're listening to this, it probably already started. So go look me up. I have the High Ground podcast every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I've had all three of you on at different points, sometimes at the same point. I'm also on Diet in the Force podcast, which is more like topical stuff, and we just hang out with chat on Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. You can find them wherever podcasts are found, but they also stream live on YouTube. And yeah, that is about it. Thank you so much for inviting me on. This has been a lot of fun. Sorry if I got too wild.
No, there's no such thing. There's no such thing at all.
I mean, we're four talkative guys, right? So
yeah, we're all very talkative people. And the whole point of having guests on this show is to have voices other than the usual Nerd Academy roundup, myself especially. Because it doesn't matter what show you listen to in this network, you hear my goddamn voice. So it's nice to hear other people for once.
It's a
Kevin?
lovely voice.
Oh, thank you.
So to find me, I'm mostly on TikTok at @JKevinParker, the letter J, and same on Linktree and most of the socials. That's the same handle I have. My Linktree has everything, including my YouTube channel, which is called Epic Worldview, and I am working very hard behind the scenes to get a content plan together. So I'm going to start pushing a lot of content toward YouTube very soon. So
I cannot recommend all of these guys' work enough. Choco is incredibly informative and fun to watch. Ben, if I were to like pitch anybody on your TikTok page, I don't think anybody could have gone into Suicide Squad more prepared for that movie had they, other than watching your character
Oh my
profiles.
word, the biggest mistake I ever made. Yeah.
Hey,
I did
it was
three of
good.
those,
It
and I
was
like,
good
what am I
shit
doing?
though. It was
Yeah,
good
thank you.
shit. And Kevin and I are kindred spirits in that we eat those Phantom Menace cocksuckers for breakfast. He's better at it than me. He's way funnier
Oh,
about it.
dude,
I'm
he's
just
one of those people
mean.
who, like nail. Yeah,
I'm
he's
just mean
nailed.
about it. And Kevin's funny, and Choco's really sweet. Like Choco tries to talk him off the ledge. I just tackle them off and like go down with them, and like Kevin just kind of like pulls a rug out and he makes a joke out of it.
Boop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See
Kevin
ya.
Spartan kicks him for sure.
Yeah,
Yes, I've actually made a TikTok of that.
When I'm on the curb watching them stand there, trying talking them down and pushing them up.
What's cool
Yeah.
is all four of us, and there are many others too, but like we have our different ways of doing it, but we're all trying to build toward a more positive fandom for all these different
Exactly.
fandoms. And that's the only reason I'm involved. And I'm going to stay involved now because I know all of you nice, wonderful people. And I'm meeting more and more every week. So this is exciting. Thank you all for what you do.
Thank you, man. Like I said, I try to, I had this conversation with a couple people recently where I wanted to tackle like most of what we do, both here on Knights of the Nerd Republic. A lot of it's news, and that kind of stuff, and it's because a lot of the like geek shit news is misinformation. It's misinformation that takes off wildly. It is we got this covered, giant freaking robot, screen rant, just absolute dreck. And I'm not gonna like call myself some type of like gallant entertainment journalist or anything like that. My ego isn't that big, and I'm not that dissociated from reality to call myself that. But we report on the actual goddamn news with nerd stuff, and like the fact that that's such like that there's a power vacuum for people who just report the news accurately. It's kind of disturbing, and I think part of what allows for that type of fan content creator to exist, either to grossly misrepresent stories, not give them their due nuance, or just talk about shit without there being some type of psychotic conspiratorial agenda behind it. Like a lot of the Fandom Menace is now, like how a lot of those same clickbait publications rely on the Fandom Menace, and the Fandom Menace get a lot of clicks kind of circled through them because we got this covered and whatnot. We'll report on a Mike Zero story or report on a Doomcock story.
It's a circle click.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a circle click, and that was a very funny and not vulgar way of putting it.
I was definitely trying to keep it clean there, but and the fact that they've made this a business model just pisses me off. Like people are being duped and clicking and paying these guys money. Now more and more people I meet will figure out, oh, this guy's a bozo, I shouldn't follow that guy because his stories are wrong 99 out of 98 times, right? Like they're more wrong than what they report. So like there are some who figure it out, but many just, oh yeah, well now it's this story, and no, now it's this. No, Kathleen Kennedy's been fired for the 87th time this week. Whatever. Like I get tired of all the BS. Sorry, I can go on for hours.
You're good. Hey, hopefully, if the stars align, we're going to be talking a lot about that on Knights of the Nerd Republic this week.
I had a proud papa moment, kind of, where there was a story of all of the variant covers for part of the War of the Bounty Hunters, and it was going off that they officially renamed the fire spray, and it was a proud papa moment because I have a lot of content where all I do is I literally just read the source article. I'm like, everything everyone is saying is wrong. Like, just
make it that easy.
Just read the damn article. And I was like, oh my God, they're doing this again. Like, yeah. It says it in using the Star Wars language. I just went ahead, I decoded the whole thing to show it. It doesn't say it anywhere on it. And I went and like I tracked that whole story to its source, and I was going to do a whole video and all this stuff. And then I looked, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is just clickbait nonsense!" Like, so many comments were like, "Oh, this is all garbage," and I was like,
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
And again, this is a conversation for. This is a conversation for nights, and I just want to say this much, and this is where I got really angry with that. Goddamn IGN, like, do better. Like, those are one of those moments where it's like you have too much power and too much influence over this situation to have reporting that sloppy.
mm-hmm.
Like that, like it was like you know what? I expect it from We Got This Covered. I expect it from Screen Rant. IGN, do better. But any hoozles, like I said, Knights of the Nerd Republic's going to be a good one this week. Don't you miss it. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at DarkJedi2552. I'm trying to get better at making actual content, not just posting clips of the podcast. But it's mostly clips right now. And if you're watching this, you've seen that clip. But that's beside the point. You guys can also find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Thank you to our $10 alumnus, Feige's Boomer Burner, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, Zach Knaus, Michael Armburst, and the one troll patron. I'm not reading that name. It's nothing obscene. It's nothing vulgar. It's just a long line of numbers. This person subscribed to our Patreon about 2 months ago. Their first name was Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Down, Never Gonna Run Around and Desert You, Never Gonna Make You Cry, Never Gonna Say Goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
That was the full name. And then the next month, after we had Mitch, Armin, and Sean from Comic Book Cast on, I was telling them about that patron. Mitch was like, well, it's a variant of you because you're the only person who would troll you that hard. So then the name for August was Jarod the Light Sith instead of the Dark Jedi. I was like, that was very clever. Now they just made it the numbers, and that's not fun, and I'm not going to say it. Be sure to consider the $5 tier where you get to hear the audio commentary tie-ins from Nerd Academy Movie Club, the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series. Last month's Darth Malik versus Mace Windu is out now on our Patreon, and this month is going to be Coyote Mundi versus Darth Vindican. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to this lovely panel of guests for joining us. And class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!